Ohanian, Gwen Danielson, and Alexander Leatham. Fast forward almost 2 years, Ziz and the associates file a federal lawsuit against Sonoma County, Westminster Woods, and the 2 deputies. They say they were wrongly arrested, abused, assaulted, and mocked for being transgender. In August of 2022, Ziz allegedly dies in a boating accident in San Francisco Bay, according to an obituary in a Fairbanks, Alaska newspaper. Then in November, Leatham, Ohanian, and Dow allegedly attack their Vallejo landlord, Curtis Lind, with one impaling him with a samurai sword through his chest. Lind shoots 2 of his assailants, killing Borhanian. Lind survives the attack, but is left blind in one eye. Leatham and Dow are charged with murder and attempted murder. A few months later, in Chester Heights, Pennsylvania, Richard Zatko and his wife Rita are found shot to death in their home. And Jack Lasota, the namesake of the Zizian movement, was arrested in the state as police investigated that crime, indicating that Ziz was actually very much alive. Remember the federal lawsuit Ziz filed in 2021? That's now dismissed because the plaintiffs are unwilling to pursue further action. In November of last year, Teresa Youngblood and Maximilian Snyder apply for a marriage license in Washington state. It's unclear if they ever got married. The couple went to high school together in Seattle and studied computer science at prestigious universities. We'll get back to them in a second. On January 17th, 2025, Curtis Lind, the Vallejo landlord, is attacked and stabbed yet again. This time, Lind dies from his injuries. We talked to a man who works at an auto body shop across the street from where the crime happened. Here's what he said of the gruesome killing.
El señor, Mr. Curtis, se bajó de su carro y él llegó y lo abrazó por atrás y lo empezó a apuñalar. Algunos muchachos vieron y trataron de ayudarle y el muchacho se regresó nuevamente a seguirlo apuñalando y le cortó el cuello.
Lind was set to provide key testimony in the upcoming trial against his 2019 attackers. On January 20th, Youngblood, the supposed newlywed, and a German national, Felix Baukholt, also known as Ophelia, are driving near the Vermont-Canada border. They're pulled over for an immigration check. Youngblood allegedly shoots an officer and a shootout ensues. Border agent David Mayland and Baukholt are killed. Youngblood is arrested and faces 2 weapons charges. Investigators say Youngblood had been in frequent contact with a person of interest in the Vallejo murder case who had also been detained in the Pennsylvania double homicide. The day after the border shootout, an alert is issued calling Michelle Zatko a person of interest in the killing of border agent Mayland and seeks info on Zatko's purchase of firearms. Michelle is also listed in another law enforcement bulletin as a person of interest in the Pennsylvania double slaying. Michelle's name is listed on legal notices regarding the estates of Richard and Rita. Maximilian Snyder, meanwhile, is arrested by Vallejo police in Reading. He's a suspect in the Lind murder. He's booked in Solano County Jail without bail on murder charges, with prosecutors alleging that he killed Lind to keep him from testifying. Snyder appears in court for an arraignment, which is ultimately pushed back to February 6th because his lawyer is out of the country. We're still trying to connect the dots, and a lot of questions remain, but be sure to follow our reporting at sfchronicle.com.
Maximilian Schneider, who was engaged to Teresa Youngblood, who was killed. Allegedly, this is where the confusion comes in. The Border Patrol pulls her over and she's in a car, Teresa Youngblood and Felix Buckholt. And apparently the car stop lasted for about 20 to 25 minutes with reportedly 3 Border Patrol agents' vehicles on the scene. And this is where we're not getting the full story. At some point, she starts to shoot Teresa Youngblood. And in this shootout, Felix Buckholt, who also allegedly draws a gun, he's shot and killed by one of the Border Patrol agents. And Teresa Youngblood is hit. She is arrested, but she's not charged with murder of the Border Patrol agent, David Mayland. She's charged with weapons possession. So I'm very confused about that. And the FBI and even the charging document did not explain that at all. If your actions lead to a law enforcement officer getting killed, you can be charged with murder, whether you shot the Border Patrol agent or not. It's a concept called acting in concert. But yet no one's explained to anyone why the federal charges are listed as weapons possession. Mike, can you get to the bottom of this?
Bill, I'm as uncomfortable about it as you are. And the only thing I could hope for is that there's a number of jurisdictions, state and federal, involved in the investigation to Mayland's death, that they don't want to, file any sort of document right now indicating that she pulled the trigger and one of the bullets from the gun she had killed Mayland without proof positive that it was the gun that she possessed and not a friendly fire ricochet off the car or something like that. It doesn't really seem to make any difference anyway because of that transferred intent. You set in motion a chain of events that end up with someone else's death. You're going to be charged with murder, whether it was your intent to kill that person or not, or whether you actually did kill that person. We saw this actually in the Lind case. Mr. Lind actually fired his firearm in self-defense and killed Ms. Barhanian, who was attacking him. And the surviving people, including, Snyder, they're being charged with attempted murder, and also Snyder gets charged with murder anyway because he ended up killing Mr. Lind anyway, slashing his throat. But the people who actually attacked Barhanian and another gentleman, and Dow, they're actually being charged with murder because of Barhanian's death, because Mr. Lind was lawful in his use of defense. And so therefore, they actually caused the death of Barhanian by their actions. They started, the dominoes falling, and Mr. Barhanian acted reasonably. And so therefore, they're charged with murder. Why we don't see the same thing here in the Vermont case on a federal level, it's beyond me. Maybe they're just looking to finish the investigation completely with ballistics. That's the only thing I could hope for. And then there will be a superseding indictment handed down by the local federal district court, a grand jury there. And so, the good thing is right now they don't have to worry about her. They got her in custody. She's not getting bail. So she's not a flight risk or anything like that. But it is rather disturbing.